Hold your applause till the end,
Do
folks.
do 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 do. Call you up, ring once, hang up the phone to tell me you made it home. Don't want nothing to be wrong with part-time lover. If she's with me, I'll blink the lights to tell you tonight's the night for me and you, my part-time lover. We are undercover, passion on the run, chasing love up against the sun. We are strangers by day, lovers by night, knowing it's so wrong, but feeling it's so right. If I'm with friends and we should meet, just pass me by, don't even speak. Know the words discreet when part-time lovers have a male friend to ask for me, so she won't pick, it's really for you, my part-time lover. We are undercover, passion on the run, chasing love up against the sun. We are strangers by day, lovers by night, knowing it's so wrong, but feeling so right. I'm done with that bullshit song.
Who sings that?
Stevie Wonder.
Released in 1985. You'd probably guess the album.
It was from In Square Circle, and it's the one time Stevie wished he was deaf, not blind.
What? Not a good album?
No. I'm talking about your singing.
Yeah. It's bad.
The album's okay. It's not one of his best, but
What is his best album?
Oh, Songs in the Key of Life. For sure.
Yeah.
My favorite album, one of my favorite albums of all time.
Yeah. Even better than the Beatles stuff.
As a complete album, that is so many influences from other artists that have recorded that, and things like Gangster's Paradise. You remember Coolio? That was sort of sampled into that. So many people have recorded songs. I Wish, Sir Duke. It's just such a fantastic album. It actually made enough to have a quadruple album, and he had to narrow it down. And then there was one song he said, "I've got to put this on there." So they actually put a single in the album. So if you bought it originally, there's actually a 7-inch single that comes with a double album. And I have that because I have the original album. But some people, it's not now available. So it's a bit of a collector's item.
Have you got that album?
I've got that album and I've got that single. So I actually got it.
You brought it over to my place one time. I'm
yeah,
sure you brought it over.
on a vinyl night. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's introduce this bullshit podcast and let's talk about it more. Because he feels a bit left out. I'm sure he does.
Not at all.
This is Invert the Way, episode stardate log 12.1.5.9 in the USS Invert the Way is orbiting another planet of retrodom and bullshit. And today, we've got two very special guests. I was almost going to sing Queen's Friends Will Be Friends, but then I would have teared up. We got him back, Nervous Nathan.
He's not a pickle bear anymore.
Oh, well, a pickle bear, for those that know who the pickle bear is. And we
Shout
got
out to Russell.
Rocket Russell, your little friend. I was just speaking to him just before. And we got the Drunken Monkey back, everybody's favourite.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks, guys, for coming in. I appreciate it. Look at the fucking crowd. They're cheering. We don't have Jason Relaxation in. The suppressive personality. He's become a bit like that little prick. We don't need him. We've replaced him with a sock puppet. Just remember to be cute and funny, Retro Dan. See? That's it.
No, before we start, why did you pick that song?
Because
I'm black.
No, it's not because you're black.
Something for Mick.
That's so racist.
I thought you were going to sing Soul to Soul this time.
No, because that would insult you. You go on a fucking tirade. No, I was just trying to bring some soul into it, brother. Actually, I had a couple of songs planned, but I wanted to put one in that would surprise you.
Can I tell you a true story behind that song? And this is God's honest truth. I was in Ibiza in Spain in 1987, and there was a miming contest in the hotel. And I actually dressed up as Stevie Wonder, mimed to that song, and won $100 drinks voucher. So I got pissed because I knew that song back to back, and you know, just put on the wig and the glasses, and I looked like him instantly.
Yeah.
So
because I know you're a big Stevie Wonder fan.
Massive Stevie Wonder fan.
Because you brought over that album, Songs to the Key of Life.
Yeah.
Because quite often, I don't know if you're aware of this, Pickle Bear, but there's a couple of us in a little syndicate. We get together and we go over to each other's places. For those that do have a record player. And we'll pull out some records.
I've heard a very exclusive club.
It's a very, very exclusive club. It's called Vinyl Night. That's why it's so exclusive, because people misinterpret it for something else.
Well, last time we did it, you brought around Spotify, so we kicked you out.
That's right. And the other guy, shout out to Magic Craig.
Yep.
Only one time I said to him, look, I can't get this on vinyl. I can't find it. I want to play you guys a particular track of this album to get your thoughts on it, but it's on a CD. And he replied back on text message 10010001. Then he says, which translates to fuck off. We're not playing CDs and digital music on this bullshit. But yeah, the Pickle Bear's so young, he'd bring shit on Spotify.
No, I wouldn't. I bought my first vinyl about 6 weeks ago.
Did you?
It's a bit of a weird story. I was at a wedding down in Nowra, which was anyone been to Nowra?
Yeah, many times.
So it was an interesting wedding. It was at next to an antique shop, and I had a bit of a look, and a bit of a Fleetwood Mac fan, and I saw Rumours, and I go,
"Oh, that's a great album."
You know what? Now's the time to start my vinyl collection. Anyway, deliberated on it, walked away. I'm like, nah, and then I went, yeah, we'll buy it. Walked back, shop shut. Then I went to the wedding. Someone had a face tattoo. Great guy. Forgot his name. Had his partner's name, Charlotte, from temple to middle of forehead.
Wow. That's going to end well when they break up.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was his current or ex, but she seemed pretty chuffed. I think then that limits your dating pool to just Charlotte's.
On Tinder.
I've been waiting for you a long time,
Charlotte's.
baby. So anyway, I missed out on that. And then the next week I was down for another wedding, and I went to the same place, and it was gone.
It's a great record.
So do you have it now?
No, it was gone. 1 week later, I had another wedding nearby, and I said, I'm going to fucking buy it.
You know what? You can cheat.
And I went in and it was gone. I bought Aber Arrival instead.
Did you?
Yeah.
You can cheat. I've seen Rumours. Rumours. Unfortunately, it's a new pressing, but if you're not worried about that stuff, I've seen it at JB Hi-Fi. Yeah. Because it's a very popular album. I didn't know. So have you got a record player?
No. Well, this is what happened.
He gets a nail and he spins it on with his hand, and it's like
like everything in my life. I get the last thing I need. I don't get what I need to do it. It'd be like me going, what was it I bought? I went and bought something before I even had the console to play it.
Well, this is the guy you want to speak to because he knows how to set it all up.
I hooked the DrunknMunky up with something. Yeah. There's a few little tricks and
There's one at JB that looked all right.
With it. What?
You got to be careful. Yeah, no. They'll say you one of those little toy boxes that the kids buy to pay vinyls on. No, you want to get
I'll help you.
I'll help you. Good turntable.
Yeah. We'll talk after this. I'll help you out with it.
I had planned it
and you don't have to spend a lot, man.
I had planned it out. The next day I was going to go, did my research. DJ City, I think it was in Melbourne. I was going to buy it. Shout out. Is that our ad? DJ City, Melbourne. I was going to buy it.
They don't sponsor this. They don't sponsor this.
You know what? Why not, they? Why not? Why not? Let's do it.
The only thing I brought with me from the UK when I emigrated here was a few clothes and all of my vinyl.
You told me this story, really? And it cost you so much money. It was so heavy.
Then $400 to transport them all over. So I've got about 600 albums in 12-inch and 7-inch. Because I was an avid collector, and I wasn't giving that up. That's part of my history in my life, you know.
Oh, mate, you've got a great record collection. But my favourite story that you've got, I always remember this, and whenever I hear a Police track or a Sting solo song or whatever it is, the DrunknMunky, correct me if I'm wrong, he tells me this story one time about how he hates Sting now because he went up when he went solo, he went to a gig back in London.
Yeah. No, it was actually here in Sydney.
Okay, here in Sydney, and he goes up there with a Police record, and he lines up to try and get like into the back part of the gig or theatre or wherever it was.
And he's signing, this guy's signing everything. I'm talking like boobs and everything.
Then he sees DrunknMunky's Police record and he basically just snobs him off and goes, no, I'm not interested signing on that. And then forevermore, the DrunknMunky hates Sting.
Well, he looked at it and went and shook his head and went, but he was singing all those songs. So I'm thinking, why are you shaking your head for? Yeah, it was a blue vinyl of Every Breath You Take. And I thought it'd be great, get it signed. And he's literally signing everything. You know, if a dog walked past, he'd sign the bloody thing. And then he looks at this single and goes, nah, as if that's the past. Well, don't sing the songs then.
Yeah.
Toss a set of boobs on it.
It's like Morrissey. I'll tell you who else would do that. Morrissey would probably do that too.
Yeah, we'll get onto that later.
We'll get onto that because would do. When we saw him solo, obviously the Smiths have been long since broken up, but we saw him back in 2012 at the Enmore Theatre here in Sydney.
Yeah.
I personally liked the gig. I know people had problems with it, but I liked it. I thought he was on song. But the problem is with him, he was doing some Smiths numbers, and you damn well know if you handed him a Smiths record, he'd probably not sign it. But if you handed him a solo record, that guy would he'd sign it, I'm sure.
Absolutely. We're going to get onto that later.
Will we? Okay, you've got some stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that'll lead us to the topic of the show. But before we go any further, why don't we do this? Who are we sponsored by again? Pickle Bear?
DJ City Melbourne.
Let's roll it. If you're looking for a nice record, why don't you head out? Who are they again?
DJ City Melbourne.
DJ City Melbourne did not sponsor this bullshit podcast because nobody else will, but they'll help you out with all your audio equipment. That's right. If you're looking for a simple turn player, cassette deck, or a ghetto blaster to go back to the 80s, you can get one at, what are they called again?
DJ City Melbourne.
DJ City Melbourne. Check them out today. They did not sponsor this bullshit podcast because nobody will, but I wish they kind of did. DJ City Melbourne for all your audio needs. Now hold this button down. I don't need him anymore. I don't need Jason Relaxation anymore. I have the power. I do it all myself now. Fuck Mussolini. I got rid of that dictatorship. Right? I can say whatever I want to say about China, and I'll leave it in. Right, I'll leave it in. I don't have to. I can rant and rave now. That little prick, right? He has a lot of faith in me. I know he does because he says. I told him. I said, "Listen, I've booked these guys in. Are you coming?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm busy. I got a heart monitor because he had a heart attack. No bullshit." And he goes, "I got to mow the lawns, right? And I'm busy." All right, okay, fine. You know.
Either that or the Chinese government know where you live and they're on their way.
Well, I'm kind of fearful because they will knock on my door going, "You be saying bad thing about China, this problem." Look at the DrunknMunky. He's shaking his head. That's as far as I'll go with it, man. That's as far as I'll go with it. Okay. Topic of the show. The DrunknMunky has I thought it'd be a much bigger box than this. That's what she said. That's what he said. But he's got a box full of trinkets. And he said that I'm sure if we pull these out one by one, you'll be able to talk about them. You'll know all about these things. So he's got this box in. It's a shoe box.
DrunknMunky's mystery box.
It's DrunknMunky's mystery box, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I probably should have done is sung Mystery Tour by the Beatles.
Yes, that would have been good.
That would have been a good link.
But what I thought was, look, sometimes we'll just fixate on one topic. So I thought we'd running along a little bit and pull some things out. And I'll say most of you will have a story around a lot of these. There's a lot of thought in there, and some of them have influenced you without you even knowing it. But we'll start. Well, should we just get straight into it?
Let's get into it, yep.
So the first thing I've got, Evan bought one for Jason.
Oh, yep.
One for you.
Oh,
Pass that over. And for obviously this is sound. So we've got a Yorkie bar. And the topic I wanted to talk about was chocolates, those that have disappeared, those that used to be around.
Oh, that's a good one. What's that one?
This is Rolo.
Oh, Rolos. Shit.
Rolo used to be in Australia, and they are no longer around anymore.
No.
I don't know why. I don't know what happened to Rolo, but they basically disappeared. Now, I was in... so this is section is food, I guess.
So food section.
Let's open these. And you tell me whether these are the same size they used to be. And if you don't know, these are called... Listen. That's that sound.
That's the pop you can't stop.
Look at the size of that. That's a Pringle.
That's a Pringle. Is this from here or from overseas?
From here.
From here.
Pringles for Oompa Loompas. They have shrunk, mate. Look at the size of those.
They're shit.
That's
I
what she
noticed
said,
that the other week.
Yeah.
I don't think I can jam my hand in there anymore.
No, they used to be big. So this is what I'm saying. Things are changing. Chocolate bars have shrunk.
Yeah, they have, mate.
Pringles, small as.
They have, yeah.
A Big Mac is no longer big.
Sorry, is that the standard size of a Pringle or is that the small
53
size?
That's the small size, but inside the big tall
look at that.
tubes,
Yeah.
they're exactly that size now.
So the actual chip is the same size.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what
Yep.
size tin you bring.
For your they say for your convenience,
No, it's
snack
bullshit,
size for
mate.
your convenience.
No.
It's just to reduce the size so they can make more money.
They used to call them in the 80s fun size.
Yeah, that is not a Pringle.
Remember, I don't know if you'd be too young, Pickle Bear, but back here, they
Remember
used
the
to
chocolates, the fun size
the
chocolates.
fun, yeah, but they weren't taking the piss. They were telling you that they're deliberately mini bars, right? And they were called them fun size. You know, that's what I call my penis, fun size. But that's another story. What you want the Rolo?
Yeah, I want the Rolo. No. You used to have these in Australia.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Yeah.
They're one of my favourites when I was little.
Yeah, they're only available in bars now. You can only get them in bars. As
What?
in the bar. You can't buy these.
You can't get them
You
at
had to get them
Woolies.
for the international
individual-
section. They can only, but you can
Really?
get them in the international section. Australia doesn't sell Rolo anymore as a lolly. I don't know why.
Well, there's a couple of lollies I remember as a kid that are gone. Redskins are gone because they became offensive. They've changed their name at least.
All right, I can have
Can you?
2 of these is my daily
Yeah.
carbohydrates.
Yeah. What are Redskins called now?
Can I open this?
Yeah, of course you can.
Don't know what they're called because I don't buy lollies.
Yeah.
I know. I look like I probably do, but I honestly don't.
Now, my nearest and dearest said that you were going to mention things that have gone. We used to have, and let's be honest, there used to be biscuits called Wogs.
Gollywogs.
Gollywogs.
They're called gollywogs.
Gollywogs.
Yeah. They're now called, what are they called? Scallywags.
Scallywags.
Yeah. Well, they were considered offensive.
Yeah.
I kind of get it, to be honest. They were a bit funny, like the way that they were being described. But I don't know. See, I don't often go to the supermarkets and look at lollies and buy them.
Yeah.
Not like you.
I have a sweet tooth.
You got a real sweet tooth.
That's how you eat a Rolo, by the way. You put 2 together to make a beer barrel.
I didn't know that.
And then
I
you
would
used
have
to roll them like that, and then you roll them off the table and let them fall in your mouth like that.
Really?
That's how we do it in England. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but you also did.
And then there was a big ad.
The
Would you
elephant?
give someone your last one?
Ah.
You had to give your loved one. It was a big ad in England, and then literally no bloke then could ever eat the last one. You had to give it to your missus. Or, you don't love me no more.
Oh, so that was like your girlfriend. You don't take the last Rolo from her.
It became part of the culture, yeah.
But you know what?
Who
Today-
would you give the last one to? Like your grandma or your dog or your missus?
Well, you know what I'd
You never
say?
eat your
In
what?
the days of equality, fuck yeah, I'd take the Rolo. Well, you got equality now.
Yeah.
What do you? I'm not giving you my last Rolo. It's equal.
Wasn't that there? I swear there was an ad with an elephant. Was that for Rolo?
Yeah. Who'd you give the last
that.
one to? Yeah. And the elephant's there with the trunk, and it remembered he didn't get the last Rolo.
Yeah.
Brilliant, yeah.
And he got him.
Yeah.
I remember that from when I was little.
Do you remember fags?
I know a few.
Hey. They were white lolly sticks with a red
Yes,
tip.
we used to have them here, but they didn't have a red tip. They were basically paper.
Ah, yellow box.
No,
yeah.
the original. No, okay, maybe I'm old, but I'm sure back in the day when I first came here, they had a red tip because they were in a cigarette
Yeah, they
style
were
packet.
made to. We used to
looked
pretend we were
yeah,
smoking as
exactly.
children. It's a bit weird.
Now they're yellow and have no red tip. They're called fads.
Yeah, because fags is associated. Well, that happened here too. Because they were fags here.
Yeah.
I don't remember the red tip. I remember them looking like cigarettes. And I remember as a kid in primary school running around with the other kids pretending we were smoking.
Yeah.
Which is just think about how bad that is in the modern world, right? So we used to get these fags. So the name alone's terrible.
Yeah.
And you used to run around with these chocolate things sticking out of your mouth and used to pretend to smoke in front of the teachers, and the teachers were like, "Oh, okay, you got fags."
That's
what
different.
they-
No, your chocolate ones were the ones in rice paper. They used to have paper around
Yes,
them. They were
that's
made
what
of
I'm thinking
chocolate
of,
and
yeah.
they were in the, almost like the French style cigarette packet.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
They literally look like cigarettes.
Yes.
And
Fads were the cardboard ones. And they were hard
I
candy.
don't remember
Do you
them.
remember those?
No, I don't think we had them here.
You get the yellow ones here now. And they're in
See,
boxes.
I don't
Okay,
look.
yeah,
at
you-
I
yeah,
don't know.
I've got the sweet tooth.
But you do. You really do have a sweet tooth. But you know what? Is that because you used to be a chef?
Possibly, but also I've always been a connoisseur of lollies. Like when we were growing up, you go to, let's show my age now, but you go to the corner shop and you get a quarter. That was 25 grams, I think. I can't even remember. I mean, pre-decimalisation. And you'd have lemon bonbons, Dolly, all the classics, Dolly mixture, pear drops, licorice, all sorts.
Oh, we used to have
jelly
those, yeah,
babies.
yeah.
I mean, wine gums.
Yeah.
These are all dying
But
out
see,
now.
the UK has even today got way more selection when it comes to like confectionery, right? Way more than we do. But in my time in the 80s growing up, a lot of the stuff that I used to like as lollies or chocolates or whatever, they're gone too. Like I'll throw them out like Chiquitos. Are they still around?
Chiquitos are still around. Yes.
Polywaffles.
Ooh, that's a
I think
good one.
polywaffles are gone.
Yeah.
I know you guys had polywaffles in the UK. I'm
Yeah.
sure you did. But
Yeah.
I used to love polywaffles. Chiquito bars, are they gone?
I think I saw one recently.
But are they in
Yellow
selected
and
stores?
brown.
Because I know there was a particular lolly I used to like, even up to an adult, and I couldn't get it out near where I live. And a guy I used to work with who lived in a different part of town, he used to get them for me at the Woolworths there. But I used to go looking in the lolly section at Woolworths down here, couldn't find them for love nor money. But then I'd go and he'd get them for me at where he lived. And I was like, well, it's the same shop.
Yeah.
In theory, just in a different location. But yeah, Chiquitos, I don't remember. I haven't seen them for a long time. Polywaffles are gone.
Do you remember Morrow?
Yeah.
You can only get them in variety packs now.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can't
favourites
buy a
sort of
Morrow
thing,
bar.
yeah.
You can only get them
Little
in the
one.
packs,
Yeah.
and everyone often say, "Oh, I love the Morrow because I've not had that for a long, long time."
Flakes are different now too. Flakes used to be a bar. They used to be. I'm sure they're different now. Maybe I'm wrong, but they used to be a bar of chocolate, like a long log, right? And they used to just, I don't know why.
Oh, they're little bites now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're little bites now.
You can still get the
TV
long ones.
snacks.
Can you get the
and
long
you get
ones?
twirls, which are similar, but they're then covered in chocolate. You can still get the original ones, and you twirl the end out, and you can smash them into yogurt and ice cream. And
I don't remember that. See, again, but as kids, we were never encouraged to have that shit because we were always fat. Me and bloody Jason Relaxation, right?
Yeah, I'm standing here as the slimmest person
Right,
in
you
the
are,
room.
right? And so mum used to be like, oh, you don't need that.
Yeah.
That was mum's favourite saying. She'd be like, oh, you don't need that. I think you can do without that. And we never were encouraged to have that. We did have chocolate in the house, but we were never encouraged to get like multiple lollies like a lot of kids do now. Never had it.
Yeah.
I never really got into it. Every now and again, I'll go buy
Alzheimer's?
yeah, that too.
It never gets old, man.
Oh, Milky Bar.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, Milky
Oh,
Bar.
yeah.
Yeah. I do like my blocks
Yeah.
of chocolate, right? I do like that, and I like my biscuits. But in terms of like going out and buying a lolly, like a picnic was the other one I used to like.
Oh, yeah. Picnic.
Are they still around?
Ding, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, they're still around. Did you have the Milky Bar
Confirmation.
kid?
Yeah, we did. We
Yeah.
had Milky Bar kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like a blonde kid, very Aryan superior race. The Germans would have loved him. And he used to be in different adventures. He'd walk down the street. Like there was one ad where he was a cowboy and he was shooting baddies.
Yeah.
And here comes the Milky Bar kid. Would be like the people in the saloon.
Yeah.
The Milky Bar kid was always on adventures.
Was it jingle like Milky Bar kid is strong and tough and only the best?
No,
is
we
good?
didn't have
You
that.
didn't have that
No.
one.
See here, we used to have the Milky Bar kid doing different things.
And
Like-
sayings. The
and-
Milky Bars are on me.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes,
That's what he would
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Yep, the Milky Bars
Yeah,
are on me. Yeah, because
absolutely.
he'd always be in a saloon
Yes.
in the wild, wild west, right? And so he'd be walking around. There'd be different adventures, and there would always be like a girl that would fall in love with him and shit. Never fly today. It wouldn't fly
Yeah.
today. I don't think.
It's got some good law behind it. Some games could use this sort of law.
Like what games?
Anything at the moment.
He's got a dead hate of Borderlands 3.
No, I'm all right. I've come good. on that.
I don't
I've
want to
come good.
switch the topic just
No,
yet.
no,
but-
no.
Because you'll go in a rabbit hole, and I'm worried about him. Actually, I'm actually worried about him. So's Rocket Russell, but that's another story. What else you got in your bag of tricks?
Okay, right. Well, actually, I actually brought these in so I could just mention it a little saying because it's going to lead into the next one. And these are called. Now, my brother-in-law went to a Liverpool match in England on Wednesday.
Shout out to the brother-in-law.
Yeah. Now,
Ten
Great
goal.
comment and
and I
striker.
said, and the game was 5-5, and I go, "You jammy dodger!"
Jammy.
And
Jammy
these are
dodger.
a packet of jammy dodgers. In England, you say anyone who's lucky is a jammy dodger.
I've heard of
you,
that.
Oh, you jammy dodger.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd bring you in some jammy dodgers.
Oh, so they're actual
They're actual biscuits.
So why are they? Okay, so how is that associated with being lucky then?
I don't know.
Or did they make the biscuits because
No,
people used to say jammy dodger?
No, we were just raised on these, and often then it was short. No, what a jammy bugger! Oh, you're so jammy.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
And so these are jammy
Yeah.
dodgers, and like I say, anyone who happens to catch a bit of luck is often called a jammy.
See, I'm different to
There's no-
him.
yeah.
See, I want a coffee and have it in my own sweet time and relax with it because I don't eat biscuits a lot, even though I have them. But the drunken monkey will eat the shit any time of the day. And look at him; he doesn't put on weight.
He's
mate.
enjoying it.
He enjoys it. I'm not like that. I don't. I will have them, but later on after this podcast is done. I'm telling you now, that's what will happen with me. I'm not. And you're looking at the carbohydrates and all this bullshit. Look at us.
I've abused my body for
I know.
that.
That's right.
Now, the reason that led into this...
They look good, everyone.
They
Go
do
and
look
Google
good.
it.
They look good. Jammy Dodgers.
And this is going to lead into... And the reason being, he does the worst English accent in the world. I think he got most of his English stuff from this show. Do you remember that?
Only Fools and Horses.
Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah.
This is the number one comedy in the UK.
Yeah.
And the reason I pulled it in, because you generally don't do Cockney accent. Well, you do a Cockney accent for all English people, full stop.
No, I do Liverpudlian, all right.
Oh, you can do that one. I'll grant you that.
Will you give me that one?
And things like Jammy Dodgers come up there. But the other day, Pickle Bear, I've got to tell you this. Will your missus listen to this?
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Shout out the Cookie Queen.
Shout out the Cookie Queen.
All right. He goes, I can't play Borderlands. I've got some totty.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about... Because the Pickle Bear didn't know what toddy was, right?
Yep.
And I said, mate, because every friggin' night, I love you to bits, but I get Polos on the bloody phone, which means let's play Formula One.
It does.
But I've said to him, I will limit myself to playing Formula One with the other guys on the shitty Xbox One, right?
Which you told me to buy heavily.
I did
a lot of research.
Did I hold
You
a gun
said,
to your
mate,
head?
yeah, no, that's a good price. You should definitely buy that.
So, see, this is opening up a fucking Pandora's box, right? But
podcast 2.
Yeah.
Podcast 2.
We'll come back to that.
Yes,
everyone.
we will. We'll just leave it there for a second, right? But I said, no, I can't. He says, love. And I go, one time I said to him, no, Toddy's coming over, right? And he went, what? What's that? And I just said, don't you know what that is? He goes, no. I go, well, speak to the drunken monkey. He knows all about it. He's told me everything about this bullshit. So there you go.
So this show is basically influenced a lot of sayings in England.
Only Fools and Horses.
Only
folks.
Fools and Horses. Yep. If anyone ever goes to UK, you would absolutely know it. So things like you plonker. What a plonker.
Yeah, we say
use that.
Plonker.
I go to the football and then someone falls over. I say, get up, you tart.
The first time I went to the football with you, we're talking soccer for those that don't know what football is. Someone would get a bad challenge or there'd be somebody carrying on, trying to get a penalty. Drunken Monkey stands up, get up, you tart. Right? That's not, it was so good. It was funny.
But I think you base a lot of you are literally the Aussie Del Boy because it just goes into Cockney all the time, no matter where you're from, apart from Liverpool. And that's why I thought I'd just bring that one in. Okay, now I'm going to go on to, I guess, a bit more longer stuff here.
Sorry, you remember that guy, remember that kid at the football, you called him Nelson the whole day?
Can we mention that in this day and age? No, we might. No,
you traumatized this kid. I'd almost roll the monkeys on this bullshit because, like, you don't want to go there, do you?
I want to go there.
I reckon there's a young guy out there right now that's having frequent sessions at a psychologist because he was traumatized. He kept saying he called this kid Nelson
from The Simpsons.
From The Simpsons. What else you got in your box of tricks?
All right, here we go. That is a ticket from the 2010 World Cup, which me and you went to South Africa for. So I thought you'd like to share a few stories of South Africa.
Yeah, so...
And it's apt because obviously tonight England are playing South Africa.
At the time of this recording.
In the World Cup. And obviously I'll be going for the Poms. But as I said to a few of my friends, if South Africa win it, I wouldn't be devastated because it's really going to build up their country. Since we were there, it's dropped down again. Crime is back, and they're having a hard time.
I used to work with a lot of people that were from there. After the event, after we left from South Africa from the World Cup, and about 1 or 2 years after the World Cup, things really took a turn a bit for the worse. Maybe I'm speaking out of my ass. I don't know because I don't live there.
No, they have,
but that's what I've heard from people that used to live there, expats. Or those that actually work there for an extended period of time used to tell me, it's not not like it was when you went to the World Cup in 2010.
Yeah.
But my experience of South Africa is probably a bit different from yours. I loved it. I think South Africa is a really interesting place. It reminded me of like being here sometimes, like down at Bowral, down at those areas, like there's cottages and like really nice places, rolling green hills and all that sort of stuff. And then other parts were like clearly you're in a different continent. You know, you're definitely in Africa, especially when we did safari. Yeah. And you see those big giant elephants coming towards you. You're like, holy shit, this is another world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's an interesting place. Some places I didn't like at all. I'll be honest, I didn't like Joburg. That's my experience.
Nelspruit.
Remind me of Nelspruit because I told us.
Froze.
No, that was Rustenburg.
Was that Rustenburg?
That was Rustenburg.
Nelspruit was where we stayed in the nice house. Rustenburg is when we froze.
I told a story. We haven't uploaded it yet, but I have listened to this episode we recorded. I told a story about where we stayed at that bed and breakfast place, and that husband and wife team was running this place, and the husband was a big Smiths fan, but he only found out the day we were leaving, and he's like, I'll try and do the accent. He's like. Oh,
hey, geezer, how's it going?
No. He goes,
you all right then?
You've got to stay because if you're a Smiths fan, we'll have a bit of a braai, and we'll stay here. We'll talk about the Smiths and we'll listen to the music and all. Why didn't Natalie tell me about this? What is going on here? Because you remember she used to say, Paul, you've got to lock the car up at night, Paul. You can't be doing this anymore. And remember when I said to her, because it was a bit of a, Nelspruit was great, right, from the weather perspective as well. That's the other thing about South Africa. You could travel different parts, like Durban was warm. Yep. I think Nelspruit was warm, but then you didn't go very far and you went to Rustenburg and you froze, right? We'll get to Rustenburg, right? And we're at this awesome bed and breakfast place. We had a couple of bad runs. I think it was after Rustenburg. Yeah. I'm sure it was. And we met this husband and wife team and she was awesome. And she was telling us about what her perspective was of during the apartheid years, and it was pretty interesting to get her take on it. But then I asked her a question about, well, how come there's no footpaths along the street? And she went, oh, you don't go walking around these. It's very dangerous here. In fact, if I want to go shopping, I send the help, and I get her to go shopping. There's some silliness around here. You don't want to go there. She was awesome. But her husband was a big Smiths fan, and he was like, please don't go. And we're like, we have to. We've got another game booked or something. We've got to move on. I personally, after the event, loved South Africa, but Rustenburg was a low point. Yeah. But it was mainly because of where we stayed, and you were fuming. Because remember, I think you did all the booking, all that stuff. Before we left, was it FIFA had recommended...
It was a FIFA-approved hotel.
They'd recommended
the
places.
Did not match the venue.
Yeah, because FIFA recommended places you should stay if you're going to the World Cup, lining up with the matches that you were seeing. And this place was supposed to be like not a hostel, hotel, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be a hotel, luxury hotel.
At least a 4-star or 3 or 4-star hotel. And we get there, and I'm not kidding, Pickle Bear, I'm not making this up. We get there... And firstly, it's cold out there. Like it was winter, and we get into this room, and I'm not kidding. The floor, walls, and ceiling was slate. Everything was slate, like green slate. The shower, slate. The bathroom, slate. Everything was slate. The whole place. I've never seen. It's like a fucking cave, man. We go there, and because it's slate,
they don't retain heat very well either.
Slate. No, it was a cave, man. It was so bad. And that night, it was so cold, right? Even the drunken monkey who wasn't complaining, I was the whinger the whole trip. It was like, shut up, Dan. Like, the whole time, right? Finally, he's like, this is bullshit. And we had this heater on. It was like a fire waiting to happen. But the heater didn't do shit, so we moved it closer and closer to the bed, so more and more chance of shit getting burnt, right? And the drunken monkey's gone, fuck this. And you must have had, because we'll get to this other story, he had like this, it looked like dreadlocks, but they were in the colours of Australia, so he could follow the Socceroos. It was like this headband thingy, but it had like dreadlocks. And he was sleeping in bed. And anyway, at one point in the night, I've woken up and I looked to my right where he was sleeping over in the other side of the room. I'm like, fuck, I'm sleeping near the Predator. He looked like the Predator. I'm not kidding you, mate. Right? But it's an interesting place.
Yeah.
But the biggest story about the South African World Cup trip was, I don't know if you know this story, Pickle Bear, but the Drunken Monkey became a jigsaw puzzle for the local residents because he was dressed up as what were you dressed up as? The
Kangaroo.
like a kangaroo, but like a soccer kangaroo thingy. And he's a pretty tall guy, so he stood out from the crowd. He's got an Australian flag hanging on his back as a cape. He's got like this. You're a Roo Boy. That's what you were known as, weren't you? You're a Roo Boy, right? Roo Boy. And he's dressed up. And I didn't know he was going to do this shit, so I didn't dress up at all. I look like a total dick, right? But he was sitting. We got beaten. The first game was against Germany, wasn't it?
4-0 we lost, in Durban.
I thought it was more than 4-0.
4-0 in Durban.
Okay, we got beaten bad. And so Drunken Monkey's sitting there after the game. He's just pondering about what tragedy this was. Like, we didn't expect to beat them, but we didn't expect to lose that bad and play that bad. Well, actually, we were lucky to only lose 4-0, to be honest. We could have lost a lot more than that. I think Germany was being kind. And we sat on the benches there, or the seats in the stand, and these two photographers came up near us and they started taking photos of us. But I knew they were taking photos of the Drunken Monkey, not me, because I was plain Jane, mate. There was nothing interesting about me. But the way he was looking, he was like, had this like look of tragedy on his face. And he was looking over into the distance. And I said to him, you know they're taking photos of you? I'm sure they're taking photos of you because you look so interesting. You're like this you're like this kangaroo sitting in the bleachers, right? You've got the shits. They're taking a picture of you. And sure enough, a couple of days or so go by and we're in a completely different town. We get the local magazine or the local newspaper, and there is a picture of a news article of I think it was Australian Socceroos tragedy. What's it say? That's a picture of him.
The difference.
Yeah. So what happens was there's a story on him saying.
You got a full mask.
Yeah. So what happened was there's a full story on Australia getting thrashed by Germany, and then there's a picture underneath it going fans outraged by tragedy, right?
Then it ends up in Australia.
It ends up in Australia, right? It ends up on local news here. But the best bit was they did a lookalike puzzle quest thing for kids, like spot the difference. So there's a picture of him with a missing nose, and
that was you on 442.
Yeah, I'm on TV as well. We both get put on TV, and nice. Newspapers.
Yeah, it was all over.
So there's after that we didn't even know. The same night we walked back to the bus. Remember we had to get a bus back to the place we were staying, whatever it was. And these local reporters came up to us from Australia, and they're like, oh, what do you think about what happened during the game? And Drunken Monkey's gone, as a kangaroo, I'm hopping mad. Right? And I'm in the back just laughing my ass off. And so anyway, we get home, and Drunken Monkey's wife shout out to her, goes, you guys were on the news. I'm like, we're like, what? And we're on Channel 9 News, Channel 7, all this shit. And Drunken Monkey's like, there's a scene of him, like they've gone, Australia, Socceroos, disgraced in South Africa, all this shit. And then the last bit of it is, fans are outraged. And there's one bit, a tiny little snippet of the Drunken Monkey going, I'm hopping mad. But when he says it, right, I'm in the back just laughing. You can see me on the news just laughing my ass off. It's the only time I've been on fucking TV, right? It was insane. It was so funny. The best bit was, there was a paper clipping of him, and it was like a kid's puzzle thing, like find the difference between the Socceroos fan, right? And so, because he was dressed up as a kangaroo, they'd taken off his nose, his ears, all this shit, and that's how kids it was like a placemat thingy. I was insane.
It was good fun. It made the trip.
Celebrity status.
Right. Well, it was good. It was a nice memento of that World Cup for us.
Yeah.
And the one thing I remember, actually, me and you went to the Apartheid Museum.
Yeah, that was.
I remember I had to go through a different door to you.
Yeah.
And he went for, because I was black.
Yeah.
No, as in that's how they set it up.
Yeah, they set it up
like apartheid.
They said, yeah.
And I had to go. Mine was a lot rougher, and I had to go through checks. He just walked straight in.
Yeah.
And it was good because we were separated for the first 10 minutes, and he had a nice section. I could see him through the cage. It was really powerful. That was awesome,
mate. I'll tell you now, that was the most insane museum I've been to. Like all the places I've been to in the world, I've been to a lot of museums and all that sort of stuff. That's the only one where I walked in and I remember everything about it, because I walked in and at first, because he was my friend, I thought, we'll just go in together and check this museum out. But they said, no, you go over here because you're black, and because you're white, you go this way. And I'm like, huh?
So it wasn't a subtle thing.
No, it was no. Mate,
and they made you do it.
They made him
they
do it.
needed you to get that right from the off.
Yeah.
And for a good 10 minutes, he had nice sections with seats.
Yeah.
And I could just see him through this almost like a cage, like prison and stuff.
Mate, it's brutal.
And I'm thinking, wait, when do we actually catch up again? Because I actually thought maybe I don't get out of here. Maybe they rob me at the end and you're okay, you know?
Yeah.
No, it was brilliant. And then we went to Soweto in the afternoon.
Yeah, we went to Soweto. That day the whole day was insane for me personally, because this is the thing about South Africa. It's the first time I've felt very intimidated about my race, because we went to Soweto. I was probably one of very few white people that were there that particular day. The Apartheid Museum 100% segregated us and made a very big point about how things really deteriorated in South Africa, particularly by the 70s. Remember, they had different sections. I think they implemented it in the late 40s and then all the way through. But shit went really bad in the 70s, where they brought in the riot trucks and all. It was like a bit like Northern Ireland at one point, where they had those riot police come in.
Mount Druitt on a Saturday night.
Yeah, pretty much. Shout out
to Mount Druitt. We love you.
Don't. I might cut that out. I'll get killed. No, but there was I lost my track of thought, but it was serene, and I walked out of there and I went, fuck, you know. And the interesting was the locals, when they were speaking to us and they realised they couldn't work it out, could they? Why was a white guy travelling around with this black guy? They couldn't work it out, man. And when I said, we're from Australia and we've been mates for like, whatever it was, 10, 15 years at that point, they're like, really? What? And they couldn't, as much as they tried the whole, apartheid's over now, they really couldn't get their head around
a lot of that.
No.
But that was the same, digressing slightly, that was the same in America.
It was.
Because remember, there was a Nigerian, Irishman, myself, Italian, and Aussie.
Yeah.
And they're like, how come you guys know each other? They couldn't get their head around it.
No. Do you remember that place we stayed at? Somewhere in, I think it was in Alabama, somewhere we stayed. And we woke up one morning because the other guys had hangovers because they drink every night. But we woke up one morning and we went down to have breakfast. So it was just you and me. And all the people were looking at us like, why is a black guy sharing dinner or sharing breakfast with a white guy? We were the only people there, man, like doing that. Like,
sad for them. I felt sorry for them.
It was
you have that mentality.
It was weird.
I can't picture that.
No.
In their head, they don't think they've done anything wrong.
No.
They just said that.
No, they didn't get it. I remember when we were in South Africa, when we explained to these younger people that were going to the games, and they were locals there, they couldn't work it out. And when we told them, we're from Sydney and it's not a big deal, really, that you're friends with different races, it's just the way it is. Not to say we're perfect, not to say we don't have bullshit here, because we do. They were like, I remember one guy say, God bless Australia. I remember that. That's the first time I've ever heard someone ever say that. And this is what I personally get really upset when I hear people carry on about how bad it is here, because it isn't. You just haven't travelled.
Agreed.
You just haven't travelled. You haven't been to other countries. If you've got a bone to pick with Australia, book a ticket and go to South Africa, go to Joburg, and then come back and tell me if Australia is worse than Joburg. I want you to do it. That's your Pepsi challenge, because you haven't travelled. You just haven't, right? And even if you think America's superior, you go to the South where they say things are hunky-dory, they aren't.
Yeah.
There's some real weird, because remember when we travelled to, where was it? Selma. And you were saying, I don't know if I want to say this story. I will.
No, go on. It's a good story. The petrol station.
Yeah,
go on.
But the way going there, you had me rattled a bit, because like I was driving this van we had, because you and me were the only two that wanted to go off. The other guys weren't interested, right? And so we're driving.
And Balaji.
Oh, Balaji did come. Yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out Balaji.
And we were driving there, and so he's Nigerian.
Yes.
We should say that. So we're driving there, and so you're saying to me, if you were seen driving two black guys in the 60s or 70s, whatever it was, you'd be lynched.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, never thought of that. You don't even think, right? And then we did the whole Selma thing. We did the walk over the bridge.
Well, remember that museum in Selma?
That was,
and when we got in, and there was a big poster that said the last lynching in America was in 1994.
Yeah.
94.
Yeah, crazy.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. But they were looking at us too, remember? It was me and you walking around there, And again, I was the only white guy, really. And they're like, "What the hell are you doing walking with these two black guys?" Like that was what they were.
They thought he was famous and we were the bodyguards.
Yeah, they did. And then as soon as we opened our mouths and they could tell the accent was completely foreign, they knew. And they said, they asked us where you're from, and we told them. They're like, "Oh, really? Okay, wow." That blew their mind. And this guy opened this museum that he had. What was it? Was it a race?
Civil
Rights Museum. And you would miss it if you walked past it, honestly. You just miss it. And he opened it up for us because he knew we were so far from home. And that was a bit like the apartheid museum, really, because it was like that was very much in your face as a white guy.
There was real clan stuff there, wasn't there? There was sheets and everything.
The KKK, what they were up to, and sheets were hanging up on the wall, and you're like, this is not cool. So we did all of that, and then the best bit was, this is the funny bit of the day. Again, I'm driving back, and I said to the guys, "Look, we really need to fill this minivan up because it was chewing petrol up so bad. We won't have enough to do what we've got to do tomorrow, let alone get home." So we pulled up to this really old, ancient petrol station, Pickle Bear. This is no bullshit. And they're all African Americans, and they're all dressed up to go to church for Sunday. They're dressed right up. I'm talking like suits, the whole shebang. Anyway, I get out there, and this petrol station is ancient. You know how old this petrol station is? It had the original analog wheelie things. As you pump the petrol, the wheel would turn to show you how much you put in. And you would never have seen one here. And so
over there, you have to actually say put 30 on, and then you pay, and then they let you pump it.
Yeah, that's right. That's across all of America, though.
And remember, Daniel, there was also a few brothers hanging out the front with their bikes and stuff, because this is why me and Belijah were laughing.
Yeah,
because there was some brothers, mostly church, but there's a few brothers.
There's a few brothers, man. Front. Yeah, so they looked at the only white guy out of them. How many people were there? 30.
I got 30 people.
Right, all of Africa. I'm the only, and this is a very, very southern part of the world, in the States. And they're like, what? Firstly, they've seen me drive two black people in this minivan. And then I've walked in, I've lined up with all these African Americans going to church on Sunday. Before that bit. Yep.
So as soon as he gets out, we lock the
They lock the door. They lock the minivan, man. They leave me stranded.
You heard the click.
And I'm like, "Oh, man, are you guys serious?" So anyway, I'm lining up, right? And then I get to the counter, and the look on all their faces, what the hell are you doing here, right? And then I open up my mouth, I say, "Oh, can I have, I don't know, what do I say, $20 of petrol?" And they knew I was an alien to these people, right? And they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I told them, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing out here?" I said, "Oh, I'm traveling with my friends." And as soon as I said my friends in the van, they're like, "What, the two black guys in the van, they're your friends?" I'm not making this up, am I?
Yep. And then as soon as we knew it was safe, we came out and bought some root beer.
That is no bullshit.
Yeah, that is true.
These pricks like the fucking minivan, right? And then they said, "Oh, we'll come out when you're good and ready." So I'm pumping the gas, which is another friggin' thing. Why am I doing it? And these guys are having a right laugh.
Mate, you couldn't get us to do that in South, because then you would have looked like a stereotype, and they would have then.
Well, remember there though, we wanted to do it in South Africa, but then we were told by the locals, "Don't do it because you're taking someone's job."
Yeah.
Because over there in South Africa, it's like self-service that we used to have in the 80s. Right, everyone's forgotten that in the 80s here in Australia,
someone would pump your petrol.
Would pump your petrol, right? And then the radical thing was very late in the 80s was self-service petrol stations, and so now everyone doesn't think of it. Everyone pumps their own petrol, right? But back in the 80s and before that, it was people would come out and say, "How much do you want?" And you go, "Oh, $20," and they'd pump in $20 for you, and then they'd take your money and run into the cashier and give you your change. Well, in South Africa,
I was little.
You'd be very, very little, man. I'm
clean
telling
the windshield.
Yes.
It was a Lane Cove Road, Calvi.
Yeah, but you would have been very, very young.
He used to pump the fuel.
Yep.
While he's doing that, clean the windshield, everything.
Yep. But they don't do that now.
Yeah.
That's all long gone, right? But in South Africa, it's everywhere. And in big petrol station, we're like, and automatically we jump out of the car and start pumping the petrol. And these guys would come out going, "Oh, no, I'll do that, sir." And at first I thought, no, they're trying to roll us. They're trying to take our money. But what we didn't realize was that they were actually, I don't know if they were employed, but they were given the permission to pump people's petrol and then take your money, go to the petrol station, get the money, the change from the cashier, and come back and give you the change.
And often get a tip.
And we'd give them a tip.
Yeah.
And they'd be like so thankful you gave them like, I don't know, $2-3, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Blew our mind, man. South Africa just blew my mind at one point. Initially, I wasn't getting it. I didn't get it at all. And then halfway through the trip, I'm like, this place.
I asked about that petrol, actually, because apparently most of the South Africans would give them maybe 10 cents or 20-cent tip. And we were giving them $3 or $4.
Yeah, they loved us.
Because we didn't know.
We didn't know.
I mean, we wouldn't have given 10 cents. We would find it insulting anyway.
Yeah.
But we basically gave him a lot more.
I remember one time I gave a guy $5. And I couldn't work out why he was so thankful. He was like, God bless you. Then he knew where I was from. He's like, oh, God bless you. God bless Australia. You're beautiful. And I'm like, why did you just give this guy $5? But then when the locals said, no, we give him like 10, 20 cents or whatever it was, I'm like, oh, that's why, right? So they got a long way to go. Yeah. That's my humblest of opinions. I don't know, but yeah, strange place. I still enjoyed it. We still had a lot of fun there.
And anyone who is a soccer fan, go to a World Cup. It's the center of the universe for football for those few. And go at the beginning when everybody's still in. Remember, Switzerland beat Spain. Spain were the top team in the world. Switzerland won. Yep. They were. If we wanted to drink that night, all we had to do was shout Switzerland, and then the Swiss would come over. And they bought us drinks all night.
Mate, they bought us drinks all night.
We didn't buy a single thing. They were so happy because they'd won a match. Yeah. And that was the world coming together.
Because they knew we were from Australia. They knew we had no frigging chance of winning anything at that point because we were doing pretty bad. And we were so happy for them. And then they went, oh, you're with us. You're with us now. And we didn't do shit. Nope. They bought us everything. They were so happy. And the World Cup is like the best melting pot of everything.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just so good. Like, you don't even have to be a football fan, I don't think, to really, really appreciate how awesome. That is one of the best events.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it comes every 4 years. It is the best event. I still like Formula One because that's a melting pot, like where people get together as well. But that happens
they're all like
every other weekend. People, You're all like-minded people, though. But the World Cup's just awesome.
Reckon we'll ever get it here? Maybe one day.
Not in your lifetime, not in mine.
No, I don't know.
Jeez,
you know what? I'll tell you what. We had our chance a couple of years ago. Yeah. When was it? 2000 and mid.
Well, the one that bloody Qatar's got. The next one.
That was our chance.
That was our chance. It was all dodgy as.
Yes. So when Qatar got it, and we were in the running, I remember the Drunken Monkey being so pissed because we had the best chance out of any of the countries that were going for it. That when Qatar got it over us, that was it for us. I don't think we'll ever get it now.
No.
I really don't.
Just to even get to that point would probably be quite expensive, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, here, because suddenly the price, well, if we got it here, the price of water would go up to $15 a bottle.
Oh, no, I mean chips, the bidding and everything just to get your name in the hat.
Yeah, these days, but Asia's just had its turn, so we're probably maybe looking at the 30s now, 2030, we're something like that.
We are so far now. We had a real sniff of it.
Yeah.
When Qatar was in the running as well, and then they ultimately won it. But the fact now that we're not even putting our name in the ring, are we?
We do want the women's. We are putting in a big bid for the women's.
We got a chance with that,
which I think is in 2024.
We got a chance with the women's.
Yeah.
We probably will get. We've probably got a really good chance with that. But the
26.
Yeah, but the World Cup for men obviously is not. We're so far from that now. So what is it? Qatar.
And then it's
Russia.
I was going to go to the one after, but I'm going to Qatar because it's the size of Wales, so less than New South Wales. You can literally drive from one end to the other in about 3 hours, 2.5 hours.
When is that again?
That's in 2 years' time.
Yeah, I might.
No, 2022. Sorry,
I might come with you on that one.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a group together because the one after is a logistical nightmare. That is Canada, America, Mexico.
Yeah.
You imagine?
North America.
Oh yeah, but that's a long distance to travel.
That's tough, man.
And Mexico, again, it's Westenburg all over again, mate.
Yeah, Mexico's a bit dodgy too, to be honest. I'd like to do Canada.
Yeah.
Because I've never been to Canada. US, I love the US.
Yeah,
I love the US.
Have you been there?
Canada once, US twice.
Yeah, whereabouts?
US, I did LA twice. Phoenix on a stopover from Vegas via Mexico.
Wow.
Canada, did Vancouver, and then we went up to a place called Sun Peaks, which is near Kamloops. Beautiful spot. First time I ever saw snow was in Canada.
Wow.
At the proper snowfield.
Yeah.
Still haven't been to the snow here.
I've not been. I went to the snow here as a kid. I've not been to the snow here for a long time.
My girls have only seen snow once. We thought we'd drive from Vegas to Grand Canyons.
Yeah.
And you think it's going to be lovely.
Really?
And they were sleeping in the back of the car and it started to snow. And we said, don't say nothing yet. And then when we got there, we woke them up and said, girls, wake up. They were about maybe 10 and 12. And they woke up and it was that wonderment, almost like a first Christmas when they went, it's snowing. And they got out the car and then just pelted each other with snow. But yeah, when you first see snow for the first time, it's magical. Yeah,
I remember
absolutely.
that. Laid down and did a snow angel.
Yeah.
It was good.
Absolutely brilliant.
What else is in your bag
Okay,
of
well,
tricks?
just leading from, I'm going to keep with the football theme for a little while. This is the first, I think, well, you used to come to the old NSL with me, but you were at the first ever A-League Grand Final.
Yeah, I was.
You were. And I just wanted to lead that into the A-League a little bit. I'm not going to go on big time, but I went to the new Parramatta Stadium last week.
You like it, don't you? It's
I
impressive.
like
hear
it
a
big
lot of-
time.
a lot
I
of people
like
say
it
that, yep.
big time. It's lovely. And I had mixed feelings about, because obviously I'm a Sydney FC member and we lost, but I wasn't that downhearted. England had won in the rugby, but secondly, I think the Wanderers needed that. I think the A-League needed that. There was almost 30,000 people there. What a spectacle. And everyone, apart from the Sydney FC fans, left happy. And I thought that was really good for football. But it just shows you, if we get the infrastructure here, and obviously they're building the new stadium at Moore Park, and people can go on about stadiums, but it brings people together. If we get a World Cup, or if we get a concert and Elton John's playing there,
Yeah.
it's what you want from a city. You live in a city to experience those things. And man, you need to get yourself out there. It is awesome. It's very, very nice. It's boutique. It's, I think, 32,000 max, but very, very nice. And a big shout out to them. They've done a great job. And I'm just hoping Sydney FC do exactly the same thing.
What
at
they do
Moore
with
Park.
parking, though? Parking was always shit at Parramatta Stadium. originally.
Transport's not bad there.
Transport's
so it's
good,
all
but
right.
parking is in terms of a car. Like, is it?
It's
There's a
not.
car park
It's
next
not
to it.
brilliant.
I think that's
And look, there is, but you still got the roads. So you can have all the parking in the best parking in the world. But if you roads out of it, like at Moore Park, are rubbish. You just get
Did they
gridlocked anyway.
Did they build a car park though? Did they?
There's
No
one.
structure, I
There's
don't
one at the back, and they're building one at the club, I think, as well to take advantage. of
there is
that.
a big one at the club.
Is
yeah,
there? Okay,
yeah.
right. Okay, cool.
But really, that doesn't solve the problem, because once everyone gets out, you're still on those narrow roads of Parramatta, and Parramatta's a gridlock at the best of times.
So the grand final back in 2006 was that the one where it pissed down rain?
No, you're talking the old NSL grand
old-
final.
yeah,
that
the-
was
the
Parramatta
the
Power
last-
versus Perth Glory
The last grand final for the NSL,
Yes.
was Parramatta Power
at the old stadium.
At the old stadium, who against who?
Perth Glory. We're in the middle of a drought, right? Now, it hadn't rained.
Hadn't rained for so long.
So my daughter Kira hadn't seen rain all her life, and she's 4 years old, sorry. And we went to the grand final in 2004, I believe it was, Daniel, and because there was a gap between that and the A-League, and it hadn't rained. I'm talking about almost 2 years we hadn't seen rain, and it belted it down for 3 hours. The whole summer.
It was awful. It was
literally
awful.
literally just before the game kicked off, and they were playing on this almost like a swimming pool.
Yeah.
And then it stopped raining at the end, and that was the end of the rain.
we
It was
got-
like the gods had actually rained down on the NSL and said, "You're rubbish.
Yeah.
Go away.
Yeah.
This is what I think of
Do-
you. I'm gonna take a piss
do-
on you. Off you go."
Do you remember the guys in the stadium? They had these big signs. Goodbye NSL. You know,
Yeah.
we miss you NSL, because there were people didn't want to go to the A-League, so people were like, "Oh, farewell NSL, goodbye NSL," and then it pissed rain down on them,
Yeah.
like major. It was so bad, and we got covered in mud so much. I remember coming home going, "Fuck, man, I'm just
was
saturated."
awful.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you came to the first grand final, and that was a sellout. That was Central Coast versus and Dwight York. Of
I
course,
just saw Dwight York's on the
Dwight
front
York,
cover.
yeah, he was there, and that was great for football. And as I say, I don't think we've built on that. I think we're still trying to make our presence felt in this country, because obviously AFL is the biggest one, and then rugby league. We'll get there.
The best thing is that on the back of the cover here is a Hyundai Getz. Leading motor authorities have declared the Hyundai Getz Australia's best small car 2005. Let's roll this motherfucker. That's right. We're not sponsored by Hyundai, but you know what? Let's go through why you should get one. Leading edge motor authorities declared the Hyundai Getz Australia's best small car in 2005. The new 1.6 litre what a beast. 3-door Hyundai Getz was judged best overall for design, value, and on-road performance. In short, Getz runs rings around the competition once again. Check it out, the Hyundai Getz. I think it's going to be a winner in 2006.
11,990 drive away.
Well, that was, I tell you,
Wow.
that was Pedro's first car that he ever got. No, he had a Hyundai XL.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was
14,990 drive away.
no, that's much later. I think it was 9,990 drive away, no more to pay.
Wow.
I think this is back in 1995.
Yeah.
Or it might have been 12,990 drive away, no more to pay. Might have been 13,000 bucks,
Yeah.
right? But for a brand new car back then, you're like, holy shit, this is unreal. Mind you, it didn't have air conditioning or an airbag or any safety features.
And look at the Hyundai now. They're sort of the new Toyota, aren't they? They've come a long, long way.
And you know what? I'll tell you something now. You know what the new Toyota Camry is? The Volvo of the 70s and the 80s.
Wow.
Because I'll tell you, people that drive Camrys can't drive for fucking shit. I'm calling it now. They drive slow. They drive all over the place. They're wearing hats. They're over here. They're over there. They're up in the fucking... They're like Microsoft. Fucking don't know what they're doing.
You don't see many Volvos anymore.
I took the ones you do are nice.
They're not cheap, that's why.
No, they're not
your
cheap.
standard
No.
car.
They're like 70, 80 grand, Pickle Bear. That could be your next car, mate, the way you're earning money.
Really?
What else you got in your box? You got anything
Right.
left?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Got loads in here.
What else?
Right, here's one.
Oh, is that the young ones?
It's the young ones.
Oh, man.
Now, the reason I brought this, because we had this conversation a few weeks ago about the way comedy's dying.
Yep.
Because you can't do comedy anymore.
No.
Well, there's a nice.
Because you're going to offend somebody.
Yep.
That's right.
Your young ones would
Now,
offend a lot of people.
picture this pickle bit. I'm gonna tell you what came before. Now, I grew up in England, and I reckon some Aussie comedy was very similar. It was safe. It was sitcoms. The only thing they used to do was a thing called Carry On. You had them up there. It was all innuendo. Carry On up the Khyber Pass, all matron, and all that sort of rubbish. Okay, very safe. Sexual innuendo.
Are you
A
being
bit
served?
of blue for. Are you being served?
I used to
yeah.
watch it with my grandma when I was little. while she
Mrs.
was alive.
Slocum's pussy, you know. Oh, Mrs. Slocum, how's your pussy? Oh, it's really good.
So it's
it
called
was that.
Carry On, is it?
No, that was more slapstick. The Carry On movies were there. There was the sitcoms. Then we had the really racist stuff. There was a show called The Comedians, and it was, you know, my mate Chalky would do this, and it was rubbish accents, a bit like Dan's Cockney ones. Or you had University.
G'day there, girls. G'day.
Right.
Fucking spiders here.
So you can do that one. And then there was the highbrow, you know, Monty Python, university humour.
That was big over here in the 80s.
Absolutely. Now, I was at college, and we're 15 minutes into the show. My mate calls me, and no one ever called at 9 o'clock. There was a threshold. You didn't call after 9. And he calls me. He goes, turn on BBC Two. And I turn it on, and I watched the last 15 minutes of this show, and it was mayhem. Have you ever seen The Young Ones?
Yeah.
Mate,
So when was this, sorry? What year, roughly?
1980,
Vivian.
81, 82.
Because I saw it as a kid.
Yeah.
It's one of the only shows that I was allowed to watch.
Yeah.
Dad loved it.
Yeah.
Right? The old man loved it. I'm going to say mid-80s, my perspective.
Yes.
Like around 84, 85.
No, definitely early, because I
yeah,
remember
it
being
was
at
earlier.
college,
I was probably watching it on reruns on the ABC. I love The Young Ones.
It changed every and actually influenced a whole generation, because if you ever met British people, you know, we take the piss out of each other.
Yep.
That's how you measure someone up. If you've ever seen Blackadder, and they've done papers now on Blackadder that Baldrick was bullied, because you know, now we sort of revision everything.
Yeah.
Baldrick was bullied by Blackadder. But it's all about it's making fun of each other. You make fun of yourself.
Yep.
You take the piss. Ben Elton.
Ben Elton was another one. But this is why I'm worried about comedy now, because I'm going to throw it out there. Amy Schumer is so not funny. Have you ever heard of her show? Yeah, but she's not. There's a lot of them too. I'm just picking on her because that's one of examples I can just pull out of my ever decaying brain very quickly. But it's all sterile.
Yeah.
With the young ones, Monty Python, even I'll throw some more at you. Yes Prime Minister and Yes Minister. I thought they were pretty funny English comedies back in the day in the 80s. I'm going to be really soapy here, like To Manor Born. Do you ever watch To Manor Born?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but they were safe.
They were safe, but they were still a little bit people I could see being offended by even To Manor Born. I can still see people today with the thin skins that they've got get offended by that because she's a defenseless lady, and like what was her name? Penelope
Keith?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is why the young ones was so. Do you reckon it wouldn't get released today, would it?
No, and
no way.
I've seen a documentary recently, and they said no, it was no way that would be allowed today. But then, and this is an interesting story. Do you remember in the young ones they used to have a musical segue?
Yes, always. They had a band come on.
Do you know why they did that?
No.
For extra funding. Because if you went to the BBC and asked to get theatrical funding, you got more than drama. So they had to have a band in to get more money because those stage sets and all the pyrotechnics cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Motorhead was on one episode.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And so was Madness.
Madness was on. The Damned, they reformed just for that. Dexy's Midnight Runners.
I love that show.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many seasons did it run for, do you know?
Well, this is the British thing, and this
One,
is like comedy.
two.
No, two.
Two.
So, Fawlty Towers, 2. The Office, 2. Young Ones, 2.
Yep.
The Brits know when to quit.
That's
the
what I've always
Americans go on
loved
that
about
nausea.
British
You know what? You tell me that all the time, and you're right, because Americans draw shit out way too long. You know what? Walking Dead's a classic example.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
You know what I was going to say it.
Yeah.
I tried to watch, because they've just released season 10.
Don't tell me you're going back to that shit.
Dude, I tried to watch season 9, and I fucking fell asleep. It is the most
I gave up
awful.
after season 5.
It died at Negan and Lucille.
Yes.
That was poor, sort of. It was bad.
Negan,
people felt so uncomfortable they couldn't watch it after that.
I like
torture porn.
I liked how Negan was portrayed by that actor. What's his name? Something. The actor that played Negan,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
That's it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan did a really great job portraying Negan, because if you read the graphic novels, Negan's actually worse than that. They've toned it down for the TV show.
I had no issue with that.
But the problem is
to
it
me,
went
that
for
was
too
not
long.
A problem. It just
Too long.
It became hard work to watch.
Yeah.
I wasn't enjoying it anymore.
And I can't believe I just saw season 10 turn up on on cable the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? What? I couldn't even get through season
Show
7 or 8.
Picklebear the cover. The third one. That's his dad. That's his dad. I always thought your dad looked like, he looked like Christopher Ryan, Mike.
Yeah, so, okay. This is where we got to go back a bit. At Pedro's wedding, that was the first time Drunken Monkey met my dad, because Pedro's known my parents for 30 years, right? And so that he also invited him to the wedding. And I said, this is my mum and dad to the Drunken Monkey. And he starts giggling, right? And I didn't know what the fuck he was giggling about. Then later on he goes, and so does his wife go, it's Mike from the Young Ones. And because I've watched the Young Ones, I knew exactly what he was saying. And I'm going to admit to you right now, you're right. Yeah. It is. It's an Italian version of Mike from the Young Ones.
Yeah.
It is. It is a little bit, yeah.
Now, see if you two really know, there's a 5th Young One. Did you know that?
No.
You've never seen it?
Is it? It's not the bloody.
No.
What is it? Not the gerbil. What was the squirrel? Whatever it was. No.
There is actually, and you'll need to go back and watch it now. And I'll point it out to you.
Okay, so let's go. The Young Ones were Rick.
Yeah.
Vivian.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
Neil.
Yeah. The people's poet. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The hippie.
The hippie
was Neil.
Yeah. Vivian was the doing
punk.
medicine. The punk.
He was the punk.
Yeah.
Was he trying to do medicine? Was he?
He was actually studying medicine.
Okay. That Rick was.
He was doing, I think, sociology.
He was like the political.
He was into Cliff Richard.
He was into Cliff Richard, and he kept telling Vivian he's a fascist.
Cliff, are you really? Hey, Cliff.
And Vivian was a fascist.
Yes.
Right? And Mike was what? What was he studying?
I don't know what he was studying. But he was always making out he had, the
money.
totty.
Yeah, he had toddy and he had money and he was always into like scams. And
opened a roller disco in the house and things like that.
Yeah, he was always had scams and shit going on. But what was the other guy?
There is a 5th Young One, and most people, even after all these years, have never spotted him. If you go back and watch, and I'll show you one of these days, probably in about 6 or 7 episodes, the hippie's just sat there in the corner or behind Vivian or behind Rick.
Oh, no, who you're talking about. Yes.
The fifth young one, yeah. And they thought they put that in there just to see if people spotted it. And once the VCR came, people would freeze frame and go, there he is. There's a fifth young one. Never named.
I always thought that was Neil's mate.
No, you go through at least 4 episodes that hippie is just sat in the room. So you can go back and find that hippie.
I'm going to have to now. But where do you get it? You're going to have to go like JB Hi-Fi.
Oh, actually, I believe if you put into YouTube the fifth young one, someone would have put it all together. But there is most definitely a fifth young one. So there you go.
I've learned something today, and I also learned. Did you tell me that Faulty Towers only had 13 episodes? Is that true?
No, 12, isn't it?
12.
Yeah.
That blew my mind when you told me that, because I to me it had so many seasons. It was so amazing, that show. Like when it came out, I got a doctor. No bullshit. He's a GP. I've been seeing this guy for so long. He is a spitting image. At one point, he was when what's his name was younger. Oh God, I've had him.
Basil Fawlty.
Basil Fawlty.
Yeah, so John Cleese.
John Cleese, spitting image of him, and he's English as well. Yeah. Even does a silly walk like John Cleese does in his doctor's surgery. In his doctor's surgery, he walks around doing the funny walk like John Cleese. That is no bullshit. Because one time he turned up and Mum, this is when I was a little kid, Mum goes, "Oh, you look like John Cleese, like Basil Fawlty from Faulty Towers." And he goes, and because he's English, "Oh, I love Faulty Towers." And then he starts doing the silly walk. I'm like, "Oh, this is my doctor now. He's awesome."
Can you imagine going in there? I've got good news and bad news. Yeah. Bad news, you're going to die next week. What's the good news? I've got a silly walk.
That's right. It was awesome. What else have you got in this box?
Oh, dear.
This is a magical mystery tour for sure.
Right, this one.
Oh, the iPod.
The iPod Classic. Yeah, no, not an iPod. The iPod Classic.
This is where Apple, they lost me because they said to me, just go fuck yourself.
Go solid state.
Yeah, but it was less, and it was costing more. Because I'll tell you, shout out to Fantastic Phil. He to this very day uses his iPod. Yeah. He doesn't use his phone. I've migrated to my
Zune
phone.
player.
Oh, you've got a Zune, haven't you? You still got it?
Yep.
Yeah, that'll become a collector's item one day.
Shout out to Jackson Relaxation, another failed Microsoft product, you fuck. Like the Xbox One.
Do you remember the very first ones that had the 4 buttons on them?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I actually know. I actually think Fantastic Phil's got one.
I think he has.
I think he has. He's got one.
That was my favourite one. The Mini.
The Mini, yeah.
The Mini 2, I think that was.
This is the classic.
Yeah.
Is this 160 gig?
160, yeah. 160,
It is, yeah. Well, this would have been the last one they released.
Yes, that was wild. I got 90 gig of music on there. And in fact, it dies on me. It'd be like losing a pet.
Mate, I know exactly how you feel. I've got one basically unused, and I've got one, the first colour one. Remember when they went to colour? Yeah. But it's really big, that's what she said. It's really fat, that's what she said.
Yeah, but not to him.
Not to him. Right, but they changed quite a bit over the years. But you remember the ginger one?
Yes.
Remember Maddie, the ginger one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yep. Right. His girlfriend had one.
Yep.
Because she was really into music. And that was the first time I ever saw one. I'm like, because they came out in about, mid-2000s? Mm. And I'm like, what's that? And she says, oh, it's a iPod. I'm like, oh, what's it do? And it blew my mind. I had to have one at that point. But by the time I got one, the colour ones came out. That's how slow I was.
The very first MP3 players were like 500.
I remember the Sony ones.
Yeah, 500 megabits. They wasn't even a gig. They were very small. You could fit like 16 songs on them. But the reason I brought that in, because I've held off, and I think this year's been the first time I've started to stream from Spotify to my car. I still like to put my music on there, but I'm finding now sometimes I haven't got the time, so I want to listen to an album, and I've been streaming it on Spotify. So I'm like you. I'm exactly like you, right?
But my iPod Classic died.
Yeah.
Or was showing signs of dying. And again, shout out to Fantastic Phil. He could talk about this for hours. Their hard drive starts going a bit funny. And so I've left mine. It's up in the museum upstairs. But like you, I don't like Spotify. I like it for convenience, just around the house, just randomly. But I'll put all my songs on my SD card on my phone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And not many people do that. And so phones that don't have XD card expansion are a deal breaker for me. Like the new Note, the new Galaxy Note phone, I don't think they've got an SD card expansion, deal breaker. This one does, the S10 Plus. So I was like, yeah, cool, I'm going to put all my songs on that and listen to them like that. Why you do that? People scratch their heads. It's like, when I explain that to somebody, they're like, why do you do that for? I go, it's what I do.
Yeah.
Have you
Right.
noticed, Bart? They don't make it easy to play music off your SD card anymore. I put all my music on mine, and the app that comes with the phone is fucking garbage.
I'll give you an app that you should get. Pulsar.
What phone do you have?
Pulsar. He's got the same as me.
9 Plus.
Yeah. So a good app is called Pulsar. Pulsar Plus. It's also got a good equalizer on it. You can mess around with the equalizer on it. Some apps don't let you do that. But even Google.
He just put it in. He's come up with a Nissan.
Yeah.
No,
It's a nice looking car.
No, there is an app, Pulsar. There is, trust me, Pulsar Plus. But you can also use Google Play's not bad either. I tend to use Google Play.
Oh, okay.
Google Play will let you do it. Yeah. It'll pull up if you load all your songs on an SD card on your phone. If you use Google Play,
Music.
Yeah, it'll pull up all the songs that you've.
I think it's fucking garbage. I have real issues using it. Maybe it's me.
It's not great. It's not the best app I've ever used. I used to like Pulsar. That app it's free to download. You can get a premium version of it, which has got better features and shit. But it does the job for me. Like I can listen to my music in the car.
See,
That's
it's not
the
showing
drunken
any of my
monkey
music
crunching.
on there.
Well, you must be doing something wrong, you fuck. I don't know what you're doing. What else you got in your box? Is that it?
No, last one.
Last one.
The big one, because this hopefully is
I
going to lead.
I don't have a drum roll sound, but I can try.
Well, it's going to lead somewhere with this one, I think, and it's not so much the subject itself, but we'll see where it goes.
Oh,
At Wembley.
That's big.
At
Now,
Wembley.
that is a Pepsi Presents Michael Jackson Tour, 1988 at Wembley Stadium.
That was a good year.
You went to the gig.
Oh, I've seen him a few times. I saw him over here, and I went to the gig at Wembley. Yeah, it's actually where I first met my brother-in-law. Who wasn't my brother-in-law? He was just a friend, and then I met his sister. So that was that gig was a turning point for me. But yeah, I used to be gay, and then I'm not anymore. But there you go. That joke was bad. You know it.
So you've seen him, was that, 88?
Yeah.
You saw him, 1988. Wow.
Now, the reason I brought that in is because I want to have this discussion, and this is going to lead right up to date of something that happened this week, actually. When do you stop listening to someone? When do you? He's dead. He can't defend himself. Do I believe those kids? Yes, I do, actually. Should I listen to the guy's music or not? For me, you might be able to had people to this, but R. Kelly, I think he's a pervert. I won't listen to his music. Chris Brown beats up Rihanna. Can't listen to that music anymore. And this week, and it's very fresh, and I'm struggling with it this week, Morrissey.
What happened to Morrissey?
He is basically, you could get a ticket to his LA gig this week for $7 US. He has come out, and he first of all, he came on stage with a right-wing badge, which Nigel Farage, who's one of the right-wing politicians in Britain, have said they're too extreme for me. He has come out and said so many right-wing racist things that a lot of people just turned on him. And my issue with it is the Smiths are one, and you're the same. They're one of our favourite bands. You've got stuff up on the wall here, absolutely.
I love this to be so bad, yeah.
But if I don't listen to them now, am I punishing, sort of the rest of the band members? Am I tarnishing them? Do I feel comfortable listening to him now? No, possibly don't. I don't know. I'm dealing with this, and this is to get back to Michael Jackson and all these artists. When do you listen? When do you don't? When are you guilty? When are you not? When do you separate those things?
So this is my perspective on it. Okay, I always separate the art from the artist. So if we'll use Michael Jackson as an example here, if he is guilty of all those things that he's been accused of, that's the person that should be held accountable to it. But the art, in my opinion, is separate, right? Even though the art is an extension of himself, his art form or his artwork, I think, shouldn't be held account to what he did as a person when he was alive. That's my perspective. Morrissey, for his political views, whether I agree with them or not, I think should be separated from his art, right? And quite often, artists, whether they're producing music or they're creating paintings or whatever it is, you'll find that they're quite eccentric and quite strange in their behaviours and their beliefs. And if you go around starting to say, well, I don't want to listen to that person because I just don't agree with him because he's a vegan, or I don't agree with that person because she's this or he's that, you'll find yourself stripping yourself away from art that you personally enjoy. So if you personally get enjoyment from it, then I think that's enough to consume it.
Fair point.
If you start getting wrapped up in what they have done, the actual person that produced that art, and say, oh, I'm going to boycott them now because they represent all the things that I totally hate in the world, okay, fine, you're entitled to your opinion, but I always like to separate art from the artist. There's so many bands that I listen to, I couldn't give a shit about what they do in their personal... I'll give you another example, right? Lane Staley, when he was alive, the lead singer, one of the lead singers of Alice in Chains, died of a massive, massive drug overdose and was a heroin addict for so many years. And I personally have an issue with that, right? Because I don't like people that, horse to water type of thing. I don't understand why you'd get addicted to that drug. I don't understand if you go to rehab 3 or 4 times why you can't kick the habit. He ended up dying because of that habit, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop listening to his music, because that's the art, right? Whatever the artist did, in my opinion, I've always separated art from artists. That's just me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Everybody's different, right?
And I agree. Okay, and I totally agree with you on that one, actually. But do you then buy and do you then contribute to their income? And so that's part of the argument as well.
Okay, well, I would answer it in a couple of ways. I would still look at the art. So if, let's say Michael Jackson was alive, this is all ifs, muts and babies and hypothetical bullshit. But if he was alive and he suddenly said, I'm releasing a new album today, I would listen to that album and not be so judgmental on him as a person. I would listen to that record and go, I hate it because he's now gone synth.
But say you loved it, right? And it was the best album I've ever heard. Would you then go and buy it and then give money to that person?
Yeah, but he doesn't get all the money anyway.
No, but he gets money. You know that.
Yes, I would, because I enjoy it.
All right.
I enjoy it, right? I'm very selfish with my art. I enjoy it, right? So I don't care, right, what he does. It's the same as video games, right? At the moment, all these video game studios are acting like fucking smashed avocado crybabies. In my opinion, they are, right? Because they're saying, oh, we work 100-hour weeks, which is all bullshit. And they want to get unionized as well, which I don't agree with, right? But that's not going to stop me playing games, right? So I want the art and I want to consume the art, but the artist, I really don't care about the artist too much. That's just me, though. I do understand people that say, oh, I'm not going to contribute to their fund of, being a pedophile or being a right-winged person. I understand people that do that, but I always go, well, I'm the art. I want the art, right? Now, that may be, if Michael Jackson was still alive, he would produce the worst album he's ever produced, and you may turn around and go, well, you know what? Now the artist is a prick, and his artwork is shit. I don't want a bar of it.
All right.
Right? But I can't tell you what to do.
No, absolutely.
Right,
no.
because
this is why I bought this one. I knew this one would be the one.
Because art's here's the thing, art's subjective as well. Music is an art form, so is video games, right? We've had so many agreements and disagreements over the years as to what we like and what we don't like. But if you and I went to an art museum right now and we looked at a Vincent van Gogh painting, you might absolutely love it and I might absolutely hate it. But let's talk about the artist for a second. He was a fucking lunatic, right? So do we then say, oh, well, we can't appreciate it because he was an absolute lunatic? I don't know.
It leads into the argument with James Gunn. Now, you might know God Into the Galaxy.
Yep.
He made some, and we all do it. He made a statement years ago.
Yep.
Got fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and then reinstated.
Yep.
And this is that same argument I'm saying now. We all have our own opinions, and I agree with you totally. If you decide to boycott, you do. I'm not forcing it upon you. But we struggle, but it's something we struggle with. As Brits, we struggled with, there was a guy called Jimmy Savile.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've heard
Jim
about
will fix it for me.
Yep.
And that was our childhood.
Yep.
Rolf Harris.
Yep.
and then suddenly they turned out to be weirdos.
Yep.
Some we dump, and some people stick with Chris Brown and R.
Yep.
Kelly and Michael Jackson. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I just wanted to raise this issue because I think it is very. Now Morrissey this week, and this is a slightly different thing. He's been selling at his concerts for 300 US signed albums. Now you think that's great, except they're Iggy Pop, David Bowie albums. He's signing someone else's album with his autograph on it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I blame the people that are shoving it in front of him.
But he's surely it's him. It's him. No.
Yeah, but who's giving him
at his merch store? He's signing them.
Yeah,
putting them on his merch store, signed by him. He's actually selling Bowie albums. Weird. The ego of the guy.
Yeah, well, look, Morrissey's a dick.
Yeah,
right?
thank you. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. He's a dick, right? He's a dick for so many reasons because he's been offered so many opportunities to reform the Smiths, right? And I'm sure that if they all got together and said, you know what, we can make $1 million out of this in a billion, whatever the number is, I'm sure he could overcome his ego bullshit. And so could Johnny Marr. He's no angel either, right? Everyone portrays him as being an angel. He's no angel, right? But the point is that these guys are eccentric for a reason. That's why they produce these types of art that we love, because they're not normal people, right? Now, I don't agree with Morrissey signing something of David Bowie's and sticking it up there, but you know what? He's not holding a gun to my head and making me buy it. All he's doing is pissing me off, right?
It's a bit crass, though.
Yeah, but that he is, but he's not asking you to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you buy it, that's another matter.
Yeah.
Right? So you have now bought something that David Bowie produced and then he signed. I don't get it personally, but somebody probably would buy it. But he's not holding a gun to your head, you know what I mean? And this is the other point. When you consume music or games or whatever it is, they're not holding a gun to your head and making you feel guilty about consuming it.
Yeah.
Right? So there are so many artists out there that are really fucked up. Yeah. Well, okay, I'll give you another example. What about Bill Cosby?
Oh, gee.
Okay.
Well, to be honest, I was never into him, so
all right,
no effect on me whatsoever.
But there are many people to this very day. We all know what he's done. I think we would all agree that he's a creep to Maximus as you can, right? But people would probably still laugh at his material from the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you ever watch it?
Only in pop culture where he was parodied.
Yeah.
Family Guy, Simpsons,
I did laugh at him because I remember growing up with Fat Albert, and then as I got older, I wanted to listen to his comedy. But he's still a master on the stage, doing his comedy, right? But do I agree with what he did? Absolutely not,
no.
Right? But I would agree.
But you wouldn't pay a ticket to go and see him stand up if he got released.
No, probably not. No. Not for doing something as heinous as that, right? And I don't know, man. Does anyone really, truly, truly know what Michael Jackson really, really did? No, you don't.
No.
So there you go. So if you really, really, the only person that really, really knows is him, but he's gone, and the kids that are accusing him of it.
Yeah.
Right. And I find it very, very difficult to buy into their stories when the guy isn't here to defend himself. I'm sorry, I just can't, because if he was here to defend himself, then I could look at what he's saying and go, you know what? My instincts are saying that you're full of shit.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'd have a different opinion on what you just asked me, right? But because he's not here to defend himself, it's very, very easy for everybody to start throwing stones at him, right? And then therefore I have no problem consuming his product.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't. Because I would understand people that say, all right, well, the guy's a creep. He's being accused of all these things. I don't want to listen to his music anymore. But if he was that fucking bad, why is he, he's still on Spotify.
Yeah.
Right? No, I know it makes money, but,
They pulled R. Kelly, didn't they, from Spotify?
I believe they did, yeah.
Did
But
they?
I'm saying it's the double standards.
Yeah.
And everyone has to pick their
Financial, I
own,
think, is what it comes
where they
back
sit
to.
on that spectrum. As I say,
It's a great
very hard
debate.
one. This is a great debate.
It's a great debate. But if I used Lane Staley, who I love and adore as in terms of a vocalist, when he was with Alice in Chains, I don't condone his behavior when he was a drug addict and he died ultimately of his addiction, but that doesn't stop me listening to his product or his art form, right? And admiring what he did. But the guy was a dead shit for being a drug addict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
Other people would say, oh, you need to be a bit more sympathetic. The guy had a disease and he couldn't kick it. But I don't know. You know what I mean?
I'll be honest, for me this week, with what's happening with Morrissey, and obviously I'm a darker skinned person here, I'm having a few issues of her buy his material anymore. Like because his last proper solo album, not this covers crap he's doing, was awesome. I told you, I said, get onto it, brilliant, and I loved it.
Yeah,
but I'd feel very uncomfortable now. Because he and he has, and now of course they've gone all past through all these interviews that he's made. He's worn the racist badge. He's provoking because he's a prick now. He really is. He likes to press buttons.
But he always has been. The guys literally come out and sung and done things about the monarchy.
Yeah.
Right? Now a lot of people would have been offended by that back in the UK.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't condone what he's saying, and I don't agree with what he's saying. I haven't heard what he said, so I'm not really educated on what he's saying. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to stop listening to Smith's albums or records or songs or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And
I'm less comfortable listening to them, though. I'll be honest, because I can't get that out of my mind at the moment. But maybe because it's this week. Maybe it's because it's fresh.
Yeah,
but it's a big debate that's happening in America and in Britain at the moment.
I didn't even hear about it.
Look it up. I'm telling you, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
Well, in a similar stead, you know, Eagles of Death Metal.
Yep.
They were in the gig that got shut up in France. Terrorist attack, whatever. Came back and did a gig. You two, I think, were involved. Anyway, I love Joshua Homme. If he was here right now, I'd do things.
He'd turn for Josh Homme. He's been on record. He once told me that it didn't matter what Queens of the Stone Age released. If it was a pile of shit on a plate, he'd lap it up. That's what he told me.
Fair enough.
Musical idol.
It's his Morrissey.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he's half of that band. This fuckwit came out after all of that and then started defending gun ownership in America.
Who's that, Jesse?
Jesse Hughes.
Yeah.
And I just went, are you fucking serious? After what you went through and all those people went through, people should own guns. I deleted all this shit.
I heard what he said.
Only time I've ever been affected by that.
I heard what he said.
But I was just like, you're a fuckwit.
I heard what he said. And basically what he said, correct me if I'm wrong, is that if people had guns, they could defend themselves during that
same
incident,
stupid
right?
fucking argument.
Right. But you know what? Look, again, I don't agree with it at all. I don't agree with it.
No,
but
I'm like, what?
But I'm still going to listen to Eagles of Death Metal records.
That just put me off. I'm just trying my
but
that's hardly R. Kelly's standard or Bill Cosby standard.
But
it's an opinion that he's got, and
I'll defend Pickle Bear. It's to him, even though to you it's not as severe, but to him it is as severe as what you're saying about Morrissey. Yeah. Right? In his eyes.
Absolutely.
Right? So what he's saying is...
Again, I don't listen to Morrissey. I don't listen to this.
See, to him it's as severe, right? For him it's as severe as what Morrissey
not
said.
at all.
No, but...
not the action. That's way worse. All of that sort of shit going on. This is just a dickhead saying something stupid. But that affected me, I guess.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I don't know where I'm
but what he's saying is that he doesn't necessarily want to run out and buy a ticket to the next Eagles or Death Metal gig. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it's the same as what you're saying. Now, I personally, I just go, you're a dick. But I would say most of these artists are very, very eccentric, crazy in their thinking. I don't agree with a lot of these artists at all, but I still consume their product. And I know what you're saying. By buying a ticket to their gig, you're supporting their crazy ways and addictions and habits and thought processes.
I said to you last year, I would have gone to Morrissey. I wanted Morrissey to tour on that album. If he came right now, even if it was $5, I wouldn't go.
But
I wouldn't.
But he did the same shit last year, didn't he? When he came to Sydney and he said to the Opera House staff, "Get rid of all the menus on your in your restaurants
that
have meat in them. I'm vegan. You're not having any meat in this establishment, right?" So he's a prima donna. He always has been, right? Now, at that point, you would have still supported and bought a ticket because meat doesn't offend you, right?
Yeah, that's not my
that's
value.
not your beef, no pun intended, right? But the point is, for some people, it was enough to go, "Fuck you, Morrissey. I'm not going to see you ever again," right? So it's everybody's different. Everybody has but I personally haven't been offended by what he said because I didn't hear it, but I don't agree with it. But at home, in my own home, see, this is what I always go back to. In my own home, I do whatever the fuck I want, right? And so if I want to listen to a particular artist or consume something that I enjoy, I'm going to listen to it, but I'm not going to put into that part of that listening experience or that, experience in general, the person behind making that art form, I'm not going to put into that experience their beliefs, their agendas, their stance on things. I'm going to leave all of that out of it because I'm going to appreciate that art.
That's a complete separation for you.
It's a complete separation for me. It always has.
Yeah.
I don't get caught up in it.
But I can't because of obviously
if it's made you feel that.
I know
because to me it's an issue.
Yeah,
looking like this, it's an issue for me.
I know.
But I totally agree with you. I think everyone has to find their own values. I would not force it upon someone. I never do. You've got to find your own values. It's the same with Michael Jackson. If you want to listen to him, it's fine. If you don't, I understand it. But this is a debate that's going on, and this is revisionist stuff that we constantly go through now.
People still buy Michael Jackson records. People still listen to him on Spotify or wherever it is.
But a lot of places have banned him. He's not played in certain schools. But they've renamed lots of places that used to be called.
But I'm going to go back. He hasn't been proven guilty yet.
Absolutely.
Right. So go back to this point. Right.
Absolutely.
People. This is what shits me with the world at the moment, in the current world. It's flipped. In my eyes, because I'm an old man, you're innocent until proven guilty. Now you're guilty until proven innocent, right? And that's wrong. The guy's fucking innocent because no one's proven that he's guilty, right? Now you can make all sorts of, you can have your own slant on it. You can say he's this, he's that. Oh, I think he was dodgy. Oh, he had kids sleeping in the bed. Well, fuck me. I wouldn't, as a parent, wouldn't let any kid sleep in a bed with an adult. You know what I mean? So it goes back to the parents, right? He's not proven guilty, folks. You can assume he's guilty, but he's not proven guilty, right? Yeah. And so because he's not proven guilty, I don't have a problem with supporting him. That's my point on it, right? Do I agree with all the things that he might have done? And do I think he was a weirdo? Of course I fucking do. But great artists are, right? They all are in some way, shape or form. So, and Morrissey, he's always been a dick. But that hasn't stopped me listening to Smith's records and his solo stuff as well. And would I go out and see him again based on what he said? I don't know what he said. If he keeps up saying silly things like that, he's probably going to shoot himself in the foot anyway. So let him. You know what? There's an old saying, give someone enough rope, they'll hang themselves. Yeah. And that's all he's doing. So in the end of the day, he'll hang himself based on what he's saying, and his business, which is his music, will go by the wayside.
I'm amazed you hadn't heard that. I guess it's been blowing up in the UK all week.
No, I haven't heard anything on that. It depends where you've been.
Yeah, I guess,
But I haven't heard any of that. But then again, I haven't been really listening or paying much attention to what Morrissey's been doing. But that's not the first time he's done it.
Oh, won't be the last,
It won't be the last either. I mean, that when the opera house kicked him out because he demanded that, I want you to take all your meat off your menu and only have vegan or vegetarian. They basically said, who the fuck are you? Yeah. And then what was he doing? He was playing gigs in Wollongong. Remember?
Yes.
He played a gig in Wollongong and we were like, what? And then when it finally came out that he was basically told sorry, we can't help you here, Morrissey, at the Opera House.
Yeah, we're bigger than you.
We're bigger than you, right? We're not changing our menu for you. Then all of a sudden he was playing little lonely gigs at bloody Wollongong. So he'll shoot himself in the foot. And you know what? Then your problem of will I support him will go away because the guy will fucking go away anyway. Yeah. The more at the end of the day, the more you shoot yourself in the foot, the more chance you're going to go away naturally.
Well, apparently he's a support artist who was a rapper. How did that come about?
Because he's lost his goddamn mind. You know what I mean?
Turned around and pulled out because he said, I want a burger. To wind him up, he says, I'm not supporting you. I want proper food on if I'm going to support you. So that was good. But no, I'm to say you need to. That's been blowing up this week.
Oh, so, check it out, man. But I'm a bit over Morrissey anyway, not because of
it's all the crappy covers he's doing at the moment.
Exactly, it's not because of him. Again, I separate the art from the artist. I just don't like what he's putting out as music. Yeah. So that's why I don't pay as much attention.
Me personally, I will not. I'll listen. Like anything, but I will not buy. I will not contribute to his. I don't care if it's 50 cents or $1. I will not contribute to that man's.
And that's your right.
Wealth.
Yeah, that's your right. That's your right.
My wealth.
And that's your right. That's your opinion. So look, I'm not telling you what to do. You do whatever
absolutely.
you want.
And right? if I came in here and you were playing the Smiths, I wouldn't walk out the door. That's
I know.
Right.
I know.
Absolutely, you know that.
But when you ask me the question. In my mind, I always separate the art from the artist because most of the time these artists are fucking idiots. Most of the time.
And just on that, as you know, there was that big uproar over the new Joker film. because of the Gary Glitter song.
Yeah.
And there was yet again the misconception that those royalties were going to Gary Glitter. You can't actually profit from them anyway. But everyone was saying, "Oh, I'm boycotting the film because there's a Gary Glitter clip, which will give money to him."
I could be really fanatical about this, and you can get this is a big rabbit hole, and before you know it, you don't enjoy anything.
Absolutely.
I don't want to go to Star Wars at the end of the year because I don't like what they produce. Right, but if I wanted to be a real prick now, and no one fucking calls it out except for certain people on the internet that I actually tip my hat to for actually putting it out there. Kathleen Kennedy's diverse range of people that she's got to help produce Star Wars is a fucking joke. They're all female. That's real diverse, isn't it? So if I was a real prick, I could say to you, no, I'm not going to Star Wars because I don't agree with her diverse policies, right? Her diversity policies, because all she's got is women making Star Wars, right? I could really do that, but I don't care. I'm going to separate that bullshit. That's another topic for another day. And I'm going to go see Star Wars at the movies because I want to go see it. Actually, don't. Fuck that fucking. I'm not going to go see it. I'm not going. Are you going to go?
Oh, I won't be at midnight, and I'll listen out for the reviews and then see. And it really is reviews, and you know which ones. I'm not talking Rotten Tomatoes.
No. You're talking about the nerds on the.
I'm talking about the nerds who will say, the real fans who will say, okay, it's worth seeing. I think it's going to be a 50% job, where they'll say, oh, look, there are some good moments. It ain't going to blow us away. It ain't going to be a classic.
Well, you've seen all the videos I've been sending you through the week. How they've got, 9 different endings. They can't make up their mind which ending they want to use. There's all sorts of drama behind it. They're still reshooting it. They're still filming that fucking movie less than, 6 weeks from being premiered?
I think there's one where they all have to go to a Morrissey concert at the end.
That's in
Turn to the dark side.
That's in the cantina.
Yes.
So in the cantina in Tantawin, Morrissey's there going...
selling Bowie albums.
But he's in the cantina going, I was happy in a haze of a drunken hour, but heaven knows I'm miserable now. And then he's got the blue elephant as part of his band. You know, the blue elephant on the keyboards. He's got that sexy chick like with the funny hair on the saxophone. Yeah. Oh, mate.
Wow.
He's very...
Shout out, that was awesome.
He's good. I didn't know the name. Yeah. Well done. Is that all that's in your box?
It is, because you actually touched upon the last thing I had in here. So
what's that? Just
that was the vinyl that I asked Sting to actually sign. But you actually touched upon it.
That's the police, Stings. I'll never forget that story because I know you like the Police.
I got every album. I've got all the coloured picture discs. I've got everything from day one, even the stuff before the first album. But it had to shatter someone's. You build them up, like you say. You had this band, and suddenly he was there, and I thought, oh, see Sting, he's going to sign this single I've had for like 25 years. Nah. So now it was like, piss off.
So to go back to the earlier discussion we just had about Michael Jackson and would you still listen to his records if he was proven guilty, folks? Not guilty yet, right? You've probably got a claim on this in terms of saying to anything that Sting ever does ever again, if he ever does anything ever again, or the police go, fuck you, because you personally had an experience. Yeah. You personally had an experience where he said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sign your record. You would then have the right, in my humblest opinion, I'll probably back you, go, no, fuck him. I wouldn't buy any of his shit because he personally fucked you over, right?
But I've never met Michael Jackson.
You've never met Michael Jackson?
There. No. I don't know.
You don't know?
And as far as I'm concerned, if he's dead, he cannot be proven guilty.
That's what I'm saying. That's the difference, right? So your personal experience with Sting gives you the personal right, I think, to go, I will never listen to Sting. I will never buy his records. I don't care what they do. If the police reform in some way, shape or form, I'm not going. Yeah. Right? I would totally back you up on that because you know why? Because the artist fucked you then. You had a personal interaction with the artist and the artist spat in your face. Right? But I don't know Michael Jackson. I don't know any of these people. I don't know Morrissey. So as far as I'm aware, the shit's hearsay. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know, you know. Drunken Monkey, that's all you've got in your little box of tricks?
That's all I got in my little box of tricks.
Oh, well done. That's a good one, Nuts. I'm very proud of our little effort today.
How long did we go for that one?
We're at 1 hour, 44 minutes.
Wow, it's a biggie.
Shit, that went quick.
Yeah, it does.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Jason, Relaxation, do you have anything else to say? No, Richard Dan, I think you were cool and funny. He's been very good these days. He doesn't interrupt me or anything, does he? That's right, Rachel Dan. You have all the talent. I think you are so cute. Nervous Nathan, have you got anything to add?
I'm good. I'm hungry.
Yeah, so am I. We're going to get some sushi.
So am I.
Drunken Monkey, have you got anything left in your box of tricks?
No,
Anything else to say?
absolutely not. Thanks for having us. That'd be really good.
It has been very good, hasn't it? I've got to find my little button to press. That's what she said. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming in. Drunken Monkey, thank you very much for bringing your, I guess it was like the TARDIS of trinkets. It was like a never-ending box of stuff.
It's just a good excuse to eat jammy Dodgers and Yorkie and Pringles.
Yes. Thank you, Nervous Nathan, for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Maybe next time.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, as well as you, Drunken Monkey. Thank you for the two people that have been listening to this bullshit podcast. Thank you, Dad, for letting us use your garage. I'm sorry I read it about chocolates. I can't help it. I was a fat shit in the 80s, and Mum never let me use chocolates, but I secretly stuck them in like some fat fuck in the bedroom, eating polywaffles. Chiquitos was a great one that I forgot to mention earlier on in this bullshit podcast, and I've just learned all about jammy Dodgers, and I think I might have one after this bullshit. And Yorkies, well, you know what we forgot to say, Drunken Monkey? In the UK, we used to eat these quite a bit. Yorkies, a Yorkie bar.
Actually, you know what? Actually, I'll just add this if we're about to go, but the original catchphrase was, "They are not for girls."
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were.
They were, yeah, and that's actually on the ad.
Yep.
They're not for girls. And then they released a pink one, and they said, "These are for girls."
You know, in Japan... In Japan, they've got Pocky sticks.
Oh, yeah.
And they got Pocky for men. And I said to Jason Relaxation when we were in Tokyo, I go, what's the difference? He goes, oh, the Japanese just reckon they're for men, but they're the same. They had Pocky for men.
Gee.
And you reckon, and you fucking smashed avocado pricks in Australia reckon there's no equality. Fucking go to Japan, you'll learn real quick. Where are you now, you feminist fucks? Why don't you go to Japan? Or better yet, go to fucking India and sort out their bullshit. Oh no, you'd rather eat smashed avocado in fucking San Francisco and worry about your straws in the environment so birds and dolphins don't fucking eat it and die.
Turtles.
And fucking turtles.
I'm just going to say goodbye next time.
No. I'm sorry for reading about plastic straws in San Francisco. It's a rabbit hole I can't get out of. Thank you, Drinking Monkey, for bringing in Yorkie bars. That's why I'm going to get fat. Thank you for the two people that have been listening to this bullshit podcast. Thank you for letting your garage. I'm sorry I ranted about pork Yorkie bars and all this bullshit. Now we're going to go, and I've got to press this button. And until next time, you little Yorkie bar eating motherfuckers, we'll have some more retro and more bullshit. But until then, you can roll it, monkeys.